I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Hi, I'm Marika Moore, and if you want to get all up in my business, you should check out my new book, Unsolicited Marriage Advice, where I provide an analysis of the best marriage advice that I've received over the past 16 years or so. So head on over to Amazon and buy it now.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hate frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. Go to YouTube, click that bell icon so you can be notified of upcoming shows, and go to the link in our bio on Instagram. You can find our merchandise. You can find our books. Hoodie season is coming up, fellas. Make sure you buy a couple because you know your girls are going to steal one. And just make sure you tell everybody about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mar B. Let's bring the crew in. What's up? What's up? What's up? So currently under a government shutdown, the Democrats and the Republicans are playing a game of chicken. I have to say that, we've been pretty critical. Well, I'll speak for myself. I've been critical of the Democratic Party and their willingness to stand up to the Republicans and the agenda that they've been trying to push through. And I think the main thing, I know that the main thing that is behind the shutdown is the Democrats wanting to make sure that the health premiums for most Americans do not rise exponentially like they're slated to do. Because the rollbacks to the Affordable Care Act, is it Affordable Care Act or Affordable Health Care Act? One of the two. I tried to say Obamacare because that's what the Republicans tried to say to make it negative, but basically they tried to roll back a lot of the subsidies for Obamacare, so it's going to increase the healthcare premiums for a lot of Americans, and it's going to severely impact people financially. So this is just one of the main issues, if not the issue, that is behind this government shutdown. And, the Republicans, they always done a good job of trying to reframe the narrative, but I don't really think that they're really succeeding on this one because I saw what's her girl name? Bad Bill, Butch Body, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. She was like, nah, this is going to impact my people. So no, I can't go for this. So what do y'all think about this shutdown? Because and Trump said, what did Trump say? People might not get their back pay. So what they're trying to do is hold the American people hostage, hoping that the Democrats will blink. And again, I've always said that government workers, the people who are impacted the most are Black people, primarily Black women. So what are y'all thoughts about this shutdown and how it's affecting the Black community?
These people are not used to bully politics. They used to these backhand deals, shaking hands, owing favors for 10 years and stuff like that. So for him to just come in and bulldoze over all the little systems they put in place to pass all their little things and get things done, I just think the Democrats just seem so unprepared to fight back. It's sad. It's like he's just bulldozing over the Constitution. Everybody's just sitting back and watching it happen. But the fact that he has so many Republicans willing to just roll with it just so they don't get fired or, whatever, and brought up on charges like Comey. But everybody's so afraid of him and the repercussions of not going along with him that it's getting to the point where even the people that are for him are recognizing that they're suffering, which is astonishing because they've been going against their interests for years. And here they are finally maybe seeing a sliver of the light. So maybe that's the positive thing in this, is that maybe his constituents can start to see that he really doesn't have their best interests at mind, that he only has his interests in mind, and making sure that he makes more money and gets gaslit into saying he deserves Nobel Peace Prizes and whatever else. But yeah, I just think it's terrible. But hopefully, the silver lining is that other people on both sides see that it's terrible eventually, and they stop blindly supporting him and actually start paying attention to what he's doing.
Yeah. Lad, what you think, bro?
Yeah, I think it's one of those deals. Kind of, you said it off the top, right? Hoping the Democrats cave because they know that the Democrats historically or typically are the party of the people. Like they actually care about people. The other side right now is playing politics with people's lives, and hey, you might not get back pay, or hey, if you're furloughed, you might not have a job to come back to, and that kind of thing. Basically showing that they really don't care about the working class at all. It's all about what we want, what we get. Well, that's the whole thing. Is you say all these stop gaps, they just bulldozing through them. I've said it before. We've said it before that to be an American politician, or really the Constitution, is based on a healthy, the two-party system based on both parties kind of a banter, a back and forth, not someone that's just going to say, hey, boom, we control everything. We're not everything we want. We're not going to listen to you. We don't have to listen to you. And no one's used to it because there's other parties that have had complete control, and they have worked with the other side of the aisle because they understand that what's best for the American people. And so people are caught off guard.
I think that's the main thing that makes people so disappointed with the Democrats, because in the past, they've had this position. When President Obama first put into office, he had both houses and he had the executive branch, right? And I remember when the debate was going back and forth to put the Affordable Health Care Act through, there was tremendous debate and going back and forth. And the Democrats were in a position to where they could really just strong arm it through, but they didn't do that because they realized, okay, we're not going to always be in power, and we don't want somebody to do to us what we can do right now. Well, MAGA is different, right? MAGA is different. They are trying to push through this 2025 agenda. And did you see where, oh boy, that's behind this? He looks like a damn dweeb. Stephen Miller. He was on network TV.
Dweeb. I hadn't heard that in a while.
He was being interviewed, and they were talking to him about like how the courts were going against some of the things that Trump was trying to do. I'm generalizing, but he was talking, and then he said a phrase. He said, the president has plenary power, plenary, which basically means like nobody can check him. And as soon as he said that, he stopped. And most people was like, it was either, oh shit, I said that out loud, right? Because that's just straight, you just admitted, yo, we about to just be a dictator. This is a dictatorship. Or somebody was in his ear and was like, hey, yo, shut up. So basically he just like froze, right? Remember how Glitch McConnell was just standing there? But the difference was he was trying to act like, I don't know if y'all ever seen like those social media comedians or whatever. And like there's this one skit that all of them try to do, like were they talking to like their man or their woman, and then like they'll try to act, they're on FaceTime, which Erika don't know nothing about, but they on FaceTime. Yeah, that was a shot. My bad, sis. But like dude was like they talking to like their girl or their man, and then everybody on the scene will kind of like freeze to make it seem like it was a glitch or whatever till they hang up. He was trying to do that, but the motherfucker kept blinking. So it was like, nah, you didn't freeze, bro. You froze, but you didn't freeze.
Right.
Froze, but you didn't freeze. So it's ridiculous. And like I said, I know plenty of people who work for the federal government, and they're going to be impacted by this. I mean, people are bringing up TSA lines are going to get a lot longer. How that's impacted us. And yeah, I mean, as a person like me who travels a lot, yeah, that's an inconvenience. But when you talk about the number of Black people who are employed by the federal government, the services that the federal government is supposed to dole out, This is really, really, really going to be bad the longer and longer that this goes on. And I really hate that, the things that should be shut down, like the members of Congress, their salaries, you notice that they still get paid no matter what. They still get paid no matter what. But the employees who are furloughed because of this, now you got Trump trying to say, they might get paid, they may not. Which he's known for running his mouth.
Yeah, he says a lot of stuff.
He's
Yeah.
known for running his mouth, I think, just to antagonize and to, bring the worst out of people and to promote basically using a scare tactic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would hope that the court system would protect those people. But with the court system that we have now, a lot of people talk trash about Biden. And, I said it on this show. Hey, Biden did a lot in terms of like stacking the court system with these judges. And we see now this is probably the last front that we have to save us from a lot of the stuff that they're trying to do.
Yeah. I saw that, and again, I don't know that the law is open for interpretation or, but they said there's actual law in the book that they have to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and that's why I
know.
said like him saying they may not get paid.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him, he said, you're going to have to ask the Democrats about that. And they
Yeah.
doubled down. They said, no, but there's a law.
He said, I always follow the law.
Yeah, and he said, I always follow the law. Do you though?
Right, exactly.
Mr. 34 counts, do you?
Yeah. Now that's up for interpretation. No, but I mean, I think the problem is that he just feels emboldened by a lot of the stuff he's been able to get away with. So then he does just run his mouth. But then sometimes he just throws something out there and then he's like, okay, well, let's just run with it. Because what it does is adds stress to everybody else. It's not just putting pressure on the Democrats. All these people that are furloughed, who you think they calling and complaining to? And what do you mean I might not get paid? And who are they trying to get answers from? So now they fielding all these calls and all these complaints and concerns and everything while trying to still broker a deal with a side that's not trying to negotiate at all. And the problem is, like you said, that back in the day, they used to work across the aisle with each other because they knew one day we're not going to be in power and one day, things will shift. But not even just that, but what's the point of shoving a law down somebody's throat and then it shifts to the Democrats' power and then they just repeal the whole thing. And now we're back at square zero. And now we got to talk about it again. Why not get something that makes sense to everybody so that it could actually, stay in place and work for forever instead of, okay, well, when we back in power, we're going to get rid of that. When we get back in power, we're going to get rid of that. Like, let's actually come up with laws that work for everybody. I know it's a weird, nuanced idea, but maybe the people that we hired to do just that could actually do their jobs. And I think they should be paying the furlough workers out of those salaries because I hate Congress at this point.
Right. Honestly, they don't make that much though, so you ain't gonna pay too many workers.
I mean, at least they staff should be getting paid because you at work, you want your staff assisting you and helping you. So you should be doing something.
They've been going after the Affordable Health Care Act for a long time.
I'm still
not sure if I'm saying that right. If it's Affordable Health Care or Affordable Care Act, whatever it is, they've been going after that for a long time. And it really speaks to the fact that they do not care about their constituents, really. This is all about the rich getting more rich. They're wealthy, the lobbyists, they're wealthy donors, and these tax breaks that are going to that are going to make them more rich. That are going to make them more rich and make people suffer. And you look at these poor ass states that voted for Trump. We said it thousands of times. Like, y'all the ones that are going to get impacted by this. And it's really crazy when Marjorie Taylor Greene is up here saying like, "Hey, yo, listen, this is going too far."
But see, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe this is opening the door for real change, and not even just changing how they doing things, but just changing the conversation. Like if people just maybe stop less full blind speed ahead, telling their constituents anything. Oh, this is going to be good for us. Knowing damn well it's not. Like,
and if you ever look at the map of the states that are dependent, I don't know if that's the right word, but they get a higher percentage of their funding and their money from the federal government, though, in proportion to what they actually pay in taxes. You know, all the ones that are above, meaning they get way more than they enter into the federal tax database. They're all red states. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and typically like the blue states, like a California or a New York, you know, where you pay so much in taxes, but you only get a fraction of that back. Those are the blue states. And you know, it's when they start shrinking the federal government, furloughing and all that kind of stuff, cutting out programs, those states that get a disproportionate amount, those are the ones that are going to be hurting. They're all red states. And so, yeah, maybe it does change the conversation. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely an attack on Black people, in my opinion. And I want people to always remember that when they are talking about government jobs, they're really going out to the Black folks. They're really going out to the Black people that work those jobs. And never forget that. All of this is about punishing Black people. You know, Trump is going after his enemies. You know, he's going after Comey right now, but all the different people that they've removed from positions that are Black women, Black men, with no justification, you know, going around the law in order to do it. You know, it's clear what this agenda is really based upon. And, you know, you see now they are trying to go after Democratic cities. You know, they're trying to go after, we've been said it, right? Eventually they're going after Chicago. Well, now they are. Now they're going after Chicago. ICE has become like the de facto Gestapo arm for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we talked about how, yes, they were going after the immigrants. And, you know, many of us, you know, had a lot of resentment for them because, you know, we felt like, listen, you know, the Hispanics, they haven't voted in their best interests. But I think we all knew that eventually they're gonna come after us too. And that's what's happening in Chicago. So we're starting to see the increased police presence. They're trying to send the National Guard into Chicago to protect ICE. You know, there was a building in Chicago where ICE raided, and they said that they came in the middle of the night and they had black. This is the one time we can say black and brown residents, children, zip tied, some naked. And the black people had to prove that they didn't have warrants, and the Hispanics had to prove that they were citizens. And anybody that can say that this is okay in this country that is supposed to be democratic, you know, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. But
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who can say that this is okay in the land of the free, I don't say how you sleep at night, but we're not wired to think like them, right? We're not wired to think like them, so that they'll never be able to understand why this isn't okay. So, what do y'all think about finally, unfortunately, what we've seen, what we always said was going to happen? Trump going into Chicago.
I mean, like I said, I think his whole point right now is to undermine the power of the federal government. And he's doing that like brick by brick, piece by piece. And it's getting to the point where like these little battles he's having with the states, trying to flex on, different people to make it seem like they're in these, battlegrounds. He has to use that emergency language or there's a crisis or something happening, or else he doesn't have the ability to go into the state. And even then, it's only like 30 days that I think he can be in there without Congress approving it. So we know he's not going to leave when he's supposed to leave. We know he's not because he don't follow the law. He just out here doing stuff, and then they're going to challenge it. Then it's going to go to court, and it's going to get appealed, and it's going to go through. And how many hundreds of people will be harassed and their rights violated? And what they're going to do? Sue the federal government? Sue ICE? Sue the state for not protecting them? That weakens the state that didn't want the person there anyway. Like, so what's the remedy? What's the solution? It's really nothing. I mean, aside from the states trying to sue to get him out of there, I mean, it's not like the Chicago PD gonna come out there and fight ICE for you. They not. They
Right.
not gonna fight the National Guard for you. None of that. So now we just kind of at the whim of a madman, and it's getting crazier and crazier every day because he's just making up shit to do at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are certain strategies though, like what apparently, you know, private citizens in Chicago have said, hey, we're not going to if they come to our store, we ain't gonna serve, like stuff like that, make them feel unwelcome, and they're already complaining about that kind of stuff, which I mean, whatever. But yeah, the thing that always gets me now is that, for the longest, a lot of things that when they first started questioning the power of the federal government was about states' rights. And so then when these states have every right to say we don't need the guard, we don't want our guard troops recalled or called in, states' rights goes out the window. And it's like we're bound down to this guy who basically whatever he wants to do, we're all for it on that side of the aisle. And that's something that's the most disheartening part, I'll say. Yeah.
So let me read some of the comments. Rich says they are in violation of one of the basic tenets of our Constitution. Our military shall not be used as police. Posse Comitatus Act 1878 generally restricts the use of U.S. military for domestic law enforcement purposes. And then Tony said both deployments seem to be based on falsehoods, actually just outright lies. And while I'm not an attorney, I think the plain reading of the president's authority to send in troops, Title 10 and Title 32, and the Insurrection Act shows there are no constitutional reasons to send in troops. So this makes this acts. He messed that up, not me, y'all. So to send in troops, so this makes these acts illegal. And Posse Comitatus broadly bars troops from law enforcement duties. So this is some bullshit.
All of that,
But
and
is ICE removing illegal persons from the nation as a whole? What does that have to do with states' rights? That's a national concern.
but
You
you can only
you are using the National Guard,
the National Guard,
to
yeah,
protect ICE,
Yeah.
and to intimidate citizens
right,
That part, yeah.
march through
yeah,
U.S. cities. That's the problem, because that was the whole pretense of what he was sending into Portland. He said Portland is, and dude, I've been to Portland.
man. I was just in Portland. I'm like,
that is the whitest city you will ever go to. That is the whitest city.
man,
I never seen.
man, I had to
understand
search
you
for a
talking about
barbershop,
the Seattle
dog.
grunge. That
Yeah,
Seattle. They should have called it Portland grunge, because that's how they look, bro. They
man,
get more white than Portland,
I
and
was
you know the
struck.
history behind the state of Oregon. You know
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
And just so you up here, you go to cities because they are anti-ICE. Everybody, well, not everybody. A lot of us are anti-ICE.
yeah.
Not enough of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are anti-ICE, but it's almost like being you don't have any, if it's not in your backyard, you're not gonna go out your way to go protest ICE. You like, I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to make my way to a place where ICE is doing raids and be like, hey, hold signs for ICE. I mean, that's just the nature of how people are for the most part. Unless it hits home or close to home, you're not gonna do much.
It's gonna hit home eventually.
Yeah, no,
St. Louis is on the list.
they can't, what they came and they hit like construction sites here apparently one day, man. And I, like they got like a little, I don't know, they have like Atlanta Uncensored, or it's called Charlotte or whatever. And they showed up these construction sites, and they rolled up and just all the cats just took off running, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. So
That
the only thing that's going to stop this is the military refusing to follow illegal orders. We already saw that power play that they tried to put in when they brought all the top brass from the military from across the world to have this speech, right? I can't whatever what exactly was said, but
no beards, no fatties.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's ridiculous, man. But eventually a lot of these things are going to hurt the American people. When you talk about how immigrants, migrants, illegals, whatever you want to call them, there has been a purpose that those humans, those people have served in this country. When you look at the food that we eat, when you look at certain industries, there's certain industries like the transportation industry a lot of people don't realize that a lot of those folks that are driving trucks, they're not US citizens. Some of them are here on work permits. And, there's been different things that have been put into place that has severely limited that. And a lot of those people are like, hey, look, I'm just gonna stay home and wait this out. Because I'm not finna hop in this
Mhm.
truck and I get stopped in Oklahoma or wherever. And then next thing you know, I'm never gonna see my family again.
Right. Next thing you in El Salvador, next thing you know.
Right.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
somewhere you ain't even from.
So if we don't have people to drive the trucks to transport the food to the grocery stores, eventually, who do you think pays that price?
I think that's one of the things that the Trumpers always miss is that they miss the contributions of the people they so busy trying to step on and what life is going to be like without those people, without those contributions. They never think about it that far. They very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Well, and not only
Uneducated.
that,
I saw Joy Reid. She was on the Breakfast Club. I
yeah.
can't remember when this interview took place. I don't know if it was recent or a
Mhm.
long time ago, where she talked about how the Democrats won. And stats can always be manipulated to
Right, right,
fit whatever narrative. But she said the Democrats, the reason why they are struggling is because they target educated individuals. And every state where more than 40% of the population is educated, the Democrats won. And every other state that isn't, the Republicans won. Now you can look at that however you want to look at it.
right.
But her point was that it's a messaging for people when they say, hey, listen, and I've said it in the past before, you go to certain neighborhoods, didn't matter who was in charge. The neighborhood has been messed up for years. So it really don't matter. So I might as well vote for this clown who's entertaining, who's saying,
Mhm.
certain catchphrases that may speak to me, right? Or the worst thing is just to be apathetic and not do anything because it really don't matter. So it's a messaging thing. It's a messaging piece for the Democrats. They look clownish to me. Hakeem Jeffries, like that brother, I don't know, man. I won't speak about y'all know there's a certain group of individuals that are college based that I always clown. I won't bring it up.
I didn't know he was in that group.
Yeah, he's in
Oh,
that
I did not know that.
he's in that group. He's in that
Okay, okay.
yeah, he's in
Yeah,
that group. But I'm not gonna take it there. But
yeah.
I just I don't know what they could do to not look so weak. Now, I will give them their credit. This game of chicken that they're playing, I'm all for it. I hate it for my people who are government workers. I hate to see anybody go without work, go without pay. But I also realize that it's already so expensive to be unhealthy in this country, and they do everything that they can to make us unhealthy with the food that we eat, with the hours that we have to work, all the stress that we put on our bodies. So people need treatment, they need medication, they need all these things, right? So they're what they are trying to do is noble, but I really just wish that they had a better way to frame their message. I wish they had a better way to frame their message to Black people. You talk about, I can't remember who was saying this, but Kathy Hughes. Now, I don't know if y'all know about Kathy Hughes, but Kathy Hughes is the OG when it comes to radio.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
Roland Martin said this as well. So, Kamala has her book coming out. Vice President Kamala has her book coming out. I think my book club said we're gonna read it. So
I think it's already out.
yeah, so but we're gonna have to read it. But Kathy Hughes called Kamala out and was like, "Hey, listen, you didn't spend no money with Black radio, Black journalists. You didn't spend it in proportion to what you did with the white media, and a lot of that's because you have white people who are behind the scenes that are spending that money, that are determining where that money goes, right? And they constantly leave Black people out. Who's going to frame the message for us better than Black radio? You see,
Right.
they try to use the Breakfast Club, right? They try to use the Breakfast Club, but I've always said there are journalistic platforms that could use that money. Hell, the Man Listen Show, we could use that money, right? That can frame this message in an intelligent way to inform the masses. And they just refuse, they refuse to do it. People try to clown Roland Martin because he got what, $350,000 for ads. You know how much these other platforms, these other media outlets get? That's a drop in the bucket. That's a heck
Millions,
of a
yeah.
drop of a bucket.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's more than the people who are pushing the money. I think just the whole Democratic Party is like, hey, we got 92% of the vote already. We're not spending that money because they take black people for granted.
Mm-hmm. They do.
That's more so than who's directing the money, because I would imagine that even if she was in charge of her, she would have been like, "No, we got them in the bag. We don't need to spend that money over there."
Let's go to Portland.
Right, let's go to Portland. Yeah, Maine and Oregon. Shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. They at some point I gotta hold the Democrats accountable because I feel like, what are you getting out of this? Because it just seems as if that there should be more fight on their regards. And maybe I'm uneducated, maybe I'm misinformed, maybe I'm unaware of, how things are supposed to go. But I do know that there's one side that constantly says shit that they not able to do, but they put the message out there and they talk enough shit that people believe them, and they make their people feel better, and they make their people feel like something's happening. And maybe the Democrats feel like, hey, listen, that's not the way to go, but do something. Do something.
But
So,
what they're doing now is, in this very moment, I don't know what else you want them to do in this moment.
I just said, I
Yeah,
get the prospect.
yeah, but I feel what you're saying, and we've talked about this before. I'm gonna have to find this article, but apparently they're trying to start in Mississippi and do more grassroots, like getting into local elections.
Hey, I know y'all get tired of me saying it, but Howard Dean,
mm-hmm. That's why I said
they gave the game plan.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, F conceding these different states just because they are traditionally red or whatever. We're gonna fight every single fight. We're gonna go to every battleground, we're gonna go to every state, and we're gonna push our message, and that's how we're going to win. And that's what got the Democrats in the place that they needed to be. And then they stepped away from it, and it's been curtains ever since.
Yeah.
I talk about the book where they said, hey, listen, we're gonna go after courthouse, every governor's mansion, state representative, and that's why you got Texas. Now Texas is super red anyway, right? But that's how you got like these super majorities. These super majorities, they were just like, hey, like here in Texas, they was trying to read when they voting on the redistricting. They said, well, why are you trying to do this? It's not even a redistricting year. Because we can.
Yeah,
right.
He said, because we can.
Yeah.
And we can, so we're doing it.
And if they take that grassroots approach, some of those new districts would really be up for play, and so it could potentially lead to more seats. Who knows? I think that's why they started, or why they're talking about in Mississippi, because Mississippi has like a pretty high percentage of black people in the state, maybe the highest percentage of any state, and just the representation in their state house, like the black is you're like, how do you have 40% black people in your state, but you have like 2 out of however many, are black representatives? So I don't know the exact number, but something that's crazy.
Gerrymandering, voter intimidation.
So,
yeah. So, real quick before we go, Puff got 4 years. Think Trump gonna pardon him?
Nah,
I don't think so.
I think I can't speak to. I don't know how the sentencing work. I saw a guy say, as a first time, he's automatically eligible for some program on the Fed where you basically only got to do like 55% of the time or something. And then with his time served, And he basically looking at by summer he could be out just in time to have another party at the Hamptons for 4th of July next year.
I'm gonna say he gonna be out before the end of next year.
Yeah. So
Most likely.
Sure. Yeah.
And he been probably doing I always tell my clients, do every program they offer. Anger management be like 30
they
day
said
credit.
he did a rehab program or something in there.
30-day credit.
Yep.
All that adds up. And then you go in there and be like, I've been good. I haven't gotten in any fights or I ain't been put in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, you're outside. I mean, because you go to like a halfway house first anyway. You can go to like a transitional place.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily be like out. You could be like kind of out.
Yeah,
So
I know somebody did that.
Don't plan a don't plan a speaking engagement before you get sentenced. Don't do that. I don't know. I can't believe Puff did that though. I can't believe that he was that crazy to be like, yeah, let me go ahead and plan the speaking engagement before I know that I get the actual sentence. Do y'all believe that?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
believe that his arrogance is what got him where he is. Because if he'd have just paid that girl her money, he wouldn't be in
He
this
said he's a
situation.
changed man.
But he did pay her though. That's what they just tripped me out. He paid her.
He paid her after that
Too
complaint
late.
went
It was too
public.
late.
We could have never seen that. That complaint could have
Yeah.
never seen the light of day.
Yeah.
Not the public light of day anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure her attorney said, hey, listen, you got until Friday to run me that money.
Yeah.
We're not only filing this complaint, we're gonna make sure the news outlets know that we filed this complaint.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna tip them off before we even go
Yeah.
file it. Tell them you
Puffy
might
was
want to
probably
be there
like,
at
I
3
don't give a
p.m.
fuck.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he cares.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you, Puff is the last because I think I said it on previous shows before. I never understood why people didn't like Puff. To me, he was just like a dancing dude, kind of weird, kind of dweeby. Was the second time I said dweeby.
I know.
Coming back.
It's kind of weird,
Bring it back.
and he just entertainment dude, right? And I never really got why people were like, calling him gay and, as if him being gay was negative and, people just, going after Puff. Now, okay. Yes, his treatment of his artists was definitely a reason to not like him. Absolutely.
And Farnsworth.
Absolutely. Well, you see, Farnsworth been hiding.
Boy, I ain't seen
Farnsworth
him.
got paid. If somebody got paid, it was Farnsworth Bentley because we ain't seen him.
Listen, Farnsworth probably signed a non-disclosure agreement anyway, so
he didn't seen it all.
oh yeah.
But I'll say this, and let me just cut to the chase. I said the same thing about Robert. I felt like what they put Robert in the penitentiary for, I felt like it was reach. I feel like that RICO shit is some let's just say, hey, listen, let's throw a bunch of shit and try to get you under the jail because we want you there. Fortunately, Puffy was able to beat that. Robert wasn't. And I continue to say the stuff that makes them dirtbags, that's what they need to go to jail for.
Right.
Put Robert in jail when he was on tape, peeing on that little girl. That's what you should have got him for. And since you didn't, you can't just go back and say, well, we still don't like you, so we're gonna come up with some shit to put you in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe I'm missing some stuff. I'm willing to be corrected, but that's how it looks to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Puff. You should have got him. I guess, he paid him off, paid the hotel people off. They been had that tape, though.
Yeah.
They been had that tape. When he chased that girl down, stomped on her, and beat on her, get him for that.
Yeah.
Just come up with this stuff about, hey, listen, he's weird sexually and all this old shit. Right. And then you talking about prostitution. You get 4 years for prostitution?
And
I understand people don't like him, so people are not going to feel sorry. But think about it, though. 4 years for prostitution.
And again, the prostitution is stuff that in a lot of people's mind, that's not prostitution. You know what I mean? It's like just
they got food out and paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the problem is that even if they had gone after him for the stuff with Cassie, it might have tarnished his image. But people get domestic violence charges every day. They be misdemeanor charges sometimes.
Every day.
he ain't never been in trouble going into probation.
Right.
That the severity comes with it being a Fed case. And the feds don't have little BS domestic violence statutes because that's a
Yeah.
state issue. You can't have like for it to be a federal case, it has to touch multiple states. So they have to make it some grandiose event that
Yeah.
impacts multiple states. It's got to impact, you know,
But listen,
So that's why
interstate
flying
commerce.
out is for a Fed charge.
Exactly. That's why RICO, because it's mail fraud, it's crossing the state line. It's always them making something small big
Yeah.
because they have to get to that case, but they trump that up. Just like
I
I'm
want.
interested to see how this Comey thing is gonna go because same
Yeah.
deal. And
listen,
this girl that has no experience doing a public trial like this, there's no way I'd agree to get fried every day on TV by every one of my peers and
Right.
colleagues about how incompetent I am
listen. I mean,
as a lawyer. You're not gonna be able to work again. He's out of office, man. No one will hire you.
let me tell you something. I know a lot of people on both sides.
Very fine people. Yeah.
I know a lot of very fine people on both sides that the getting flued out game is
Yeah.
about to go to hell. Because
Hey.
I be goddamn if I fly you out, then I'm saying you get mad at me. Now, thankfully, I ain't no creep that
So
like
now,
that like to
you
beat up
got.
on girls and shit.
Yeah.
But say you get mad at me and I done flew you out, guess what? That's a fed charge because I done flew
Yeah.
you from whatever state to this state.
So
No,
now you're gonna
NDAs,
have to. I'm so
NDAs.
I suppose this is my thoughts. I don't know. I don't.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
You would have to buy your own ticket to come, right? And then I had to reimburse you somehow or something.
Or I
hey,
loaned you this money and you agreed to pay me
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
listen, NDAs around.
Yeah.
NDAs, for sure. And you know lawyers,
You know how
type
many
that
chicks
up.
say, you know how many chicks the game they
But
got messed up? Hey,
a lot of them
who
people that was in the Puff case had signed NDAs too, though, and they still basically broke them to testify or to bring their suits or whatever. So
What are you talking about? The women or the dudes that he was paying to
yeah, them dudes and stuff. Yeah,
So
I think
they must have
everybody.
got hella, they must have got because whenever you go on like Vlad or some of those shows, like you don't go, a lot of those people don't go for free.
No, they pay them. Yeah.
Now, the scale may differ depending on how many clicks
Mm-hmm.
you bring in, right? But you're getting paid to come in. So I'm assuming, hopefully, those dudes negotiated something to get paid
Mm-hmm.
out. Because here's the deal. If you hadn't retired from the life of prostitution, my brother, you done now.
Yeah.
oh,
Because
for sure. Who's gonna
who gonna hire you knowing that you're gonna go on TV and talk?
Yeah.
well, I mean, I think going on TV and talking is different than going on trial and talking because what they're gonna argue is that an NDA prevents you from talking in civilian settings, but not in a criminal proceeding. So they're going to argue that a criminal proceeding, if you're being subpoenaed by the government to testify, that's different than you just talking on your own. So
But that's
technically,
what
they
I'm
shouldn't
talking
be able to
about.
do these
I'm not
interviews and
talking
stuff.
about them going to court because
You talking about the
I'm
Vlad
talking about
interviews?
you going on these social media outlets, right? These podcasts to talk about one dude, he was telling the whole deal, like, yeah, man, I was, me and Cassie was doing this and she
Mm-hmm.
told me this and Puff with all, and I'm just like, bro, you chatty patty for real.
Oh, not Chatty Patty.
Right.
But the thing about it is too, we assume that Puff had everything airtight and running smoothly over there. He might not have had NDAs. He might not have known these dudes' real names. They might not have gave their real name. They might not have signed their real name on the form. They might not have been able to put this form with this person.
I don't think he had it. I don't think he did. I think he had enough human.
Really, I just
He
assumed he
thought like
did.
they
Yeah.
they're privileged to be in my presence.
Hmm.
So why would they run their mouth? And Puff is one of those dudes
Arrogant.
that doesn't necessarily think what he's doing is wrong.
Hmm.
Oh, that's clear.
Now I don't see how you don't think chasing
Drugging the baby oil and passing it
beating
out.
on her and
Right.
beating on her and kicking her. That I don't see how you don't think that's wrong, but I know certain people. I know certain people that look at some of the shit that they described that was going down, the freak offs, and for some people, that's just a regular Friday night.
Man, that's a Thursday. That's tame.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for Puffy, he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm just having fun."
With
Right.
my peoples.
You know, there's no way he could imagine that it would end up like it did.
Right.
Well, none of us imagined that.
And then a lot of
Back
stuff.
Thanksgiving.
You remember when they said Puff was up here shooting cats? Shoot. They allegedly was shooting cats and was
Blowing
like,
up cars.
drag them outside and say gangbanger
Hey,
shot.
blowing up Kid Cudi's
Blowing
car.
up cars, killing
Right.
people, you
They
know,
not charging them with arson. They not charging them with nothing
you deal
terroristic.
with prostitution, you get now. I said in the man listen chat, 3 years tops. 3 years tops. Now they gave him 4, maybe because of his stature, right?
It was. That's it.
But 3 years tops for prostitution, honestly.
I mean, come on, man. Just
That's the thing. He wasn't the prostitute.
right.
That's the odd thing about this.
Yeah.
But
He's
did
the
you have to do
John.
the actual
The
prostitute?
Johns don't usually get in more trouble than the prostitute.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's it called? Is it still called prostitution or is it called like solicitation?
Solicitation.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man.
But that encompasses more things. So you can solicit for murder or solicit for sex or solicit for I don't know what else.
Everything is a transactional nowadays, though. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, like Trump and that Saudi plane.
Yeah.
And the Saudis gave it to him. Yeah. So I mean, it's just you gotta have enough, I guess. I was gonna say enough money, but Puffy ain't have enough money to get out of this one. So
You
I
know
guess
what?
enough political power.
And honestly,
and he got a 500,000 fine.
Yeah, and it goes back to kind of though what you was talking about, Marv, is if people generally like somebody as a person, they'll let more slide than if you're a jerk to them and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it could have been not to absolve him, but he's probably not the only person out here doing this, right?
Oh.
So, but that other people treat their people a little bit, you know, if they treat others better, so people are just, you know, they'll let more slide. Honestly,
We need to treat his parties like the Epstein files. Who was there?
Hey, but listen, man, that's the who's who that probably mess up a lot of careers and hurt a lot of feelings. Who's at the difference is, from what we know, the people at the freak offs were of age. What we know.
Hey, I would like to
There's a
see
difference
both.
between Trump and Epstein, right? There's a difference. That's why they hide in that. But what we know, at least Puff had grown folks there. Now they might have been
paid workers.
right?
Oh, they might
not in
have
their right mind.
Hey, listen, they might have just walked across the high school stage,
Right?
18, right? It's gross. It's very gross. Yeah, but they ain't never say no underage shit.
Right. He had them all. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we talked about it enough, man. Make sure you go follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Man Listen Show. Go to our YouTube channel, click that bell icon, and just let everybody know about the show. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. You know, was it too excessive, the sentence that Puff received? Let us know what you think about, you know, Trump sending in the feds to Portland and Chicago. And let me know, is it the Affordable Health Care Act or the Affordable Care Act? Let me know, because I've been messing it up.
I've seen the thing. It's the ACA, so it's Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
ACA.
That's what I thought, right? But I just, anyway, we'll let you next time. Shout out to C.
Yeah.